Good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone wherever you are in the world. I'm your host, HandTrapTCG, and today we are doing my list for WGP second place at Crazy Next Gaming. Sadly, I had to, I threw in the finals where I miscalculated a lot of things. But for this video, we are talking about a deck that I played for a while. You've seen a different variant on the channel before, and this would be Musume. So basically, obviously, you're playing with the Stocksoul Satono Diamond, but on the other end, we are also playing with a new combo, which is the 3-2 Agnes Tachyon, and with the Door Climax. So the difference between the current Agnes Tachyon is a pay 1, burn 2, and basically has two effects. The first effect is the pay 1, burn 2, which is the general effect. The other one is pay 1, pitch, if I recall, 2 cards or 1 card, god damn it. I should really remember my effects for a video beforehand. It is pitch 2 from your hand to have your opponent, if they are at level 2 with 4 or more cards in clock, to send 1 card from their clock to their level and send the rest to the waiting room. The Satono Diamond we've already explained prior, so that there's not really much need to explain the Satono Diamond and all the math. So this is going to be a very simple and quick deck profile. Maybe we'll go in depth depending how I go, because I am improving all this. But anyways, without further ado, let's go on to the level zeros. The level zeros are very simple. 3 Riki, 2 the drop salvage. It's very standard Satono Diamond ratios. 4 of the Satono Diamond clean cut. 3 Brainstormer. The reason why we're only playing 3 now is because of the after set 2. We got the 0-0 Dansu Flame Brainstormer, which is a top 3 check Brainstormer. And on top of that, mandatory effect, if this card has a marker underneath, you top 2 check, reveal both of them to your opponent, and then your opponent selects 1 character or event to add to your hand. This allows you to, if your opponent doesn't know what the choose your event does, aka that happened to me with my round 1 opponent for WGP, where he gave me the event. It lets you just have a free salvage and a free burn, potentially. You have 2 in your memory, and so forth. It basically gives you free resources if you are hitting a Brainstormer. So basically, the condition for the top 2 is you hit a climax off of a Brainstorm effect. And that includes herself as well. And it also gives 1,000 to an Uma, which can be big sometimes. Next up is the casual climax swapper. And because we're needing red, we are playing the Bourbon, which is a 500 assist to all Uma. And it has inheritance, and rest give 500 power to an Uma. So basically, this means your Satono Diamonds can be a 9k power character, which is very strong, and especially with some decks having like 8k or standby having 1k 10k power. With the drop salvage, with the Bourbon, and with the Dansu Flame, you basically can just kill your one of your opponent's characters in that sense. Next up, we're playing a Iconodictus, which is something that GP has played. I'll be honest, for the WGP at Crazy Next, this was my first time playing this card. There are times where I wanted to cut it afterwards, after Crazy Next, but there are times where you do want to play the card because it is a pitch 2. You bottom deck this card, and then you free summon a character from your waiting room. X equals to the level, what your current level is. So say you are level 3, and you have an Agnes Tachyon in your waiting room, you could just pitch 2, bottom deck it, play an Agnes Tachyon. You don't get the on-play effect, but you do get the free summon, so you can utilize your stock for another card that is utilized in the strategy, which afterwards we are going to talk about the normal helmet and the 1-0. So that is it for the zeros, and I am sorry I'm doing a Yu-Gi-Oh style deck profile, but that is just, there's not really much to go in depth on, because I redid with the current and Satono Diamond deck profile. But standard 1-0 Major Bright for the level 1s. Next up, level 2s are a bit different. This time around, instead of playing the Kawakami Princess, we were playing the Fuji Kizeki again. Because, again, deck space is very tight for this variant. And of course, we're playing the Chooser event. And a new card that is played with the Agnes Tachyon finisher is the 2-1 Agnes Tachyon 2-1, which is a 2000 assist to level 3 characters in front. And on top of that, it is a at the start of your climax phase or at the start of your encore phase, you can rest this character, clock yourself from waiting room, and burn your opponent for 1. This lets you have precise damage towards the end step or towards the beginning. If you know your opponent has, or you may assume your opponent has a climax in your deck still, you can get rid of it, or you can finish them off if they are at 3-6 and they're like, oh, I'm still alive, psych. But yeah, that is it for the level 2s. And lastly, on to the level 3s. This one is a shout out to Mike from Trusted Collectibles. I was talking to him about this deck, and he honestly said you should might as well play an early play, I think, because you are playing no healers, even though your deck is all gas. Having a healer is very pivotal, and I think he was right, because there were times where I needed a healer because either A, I took a lot of damage, or B, I needed it so I can go off with the 2-1. And there are times where my end turn was a Dansu Flame, the double 2-1s, and 2 Agnes Tachyons. I was at 3-4, and I was near refresh, and I needed the Dansu Flame. The reason why I threw was because I did not play this Dansu Flame. It was stuck in stock, so there was no way for me to heal down and clock in. And also on top of that, when I was able to grab it by burning out my stock with the Agnes Tachyon, grabbing it with the event, I accidentally refreshed before going to do the effect. I should have done the effect first at the start of climax, because by the time I was in encore phase, I had a new deck, no waiting room, and my opponent just killed me with Gura. So that is how I lost in the finals. But yeah, anyways, lastly for the level 3, we're playing the 3-2 Tokateo. The reason why we're playing 2, because this is a good off finisher. You are able to stock swap, swing, if you have one of these in your hand as well, either through the event or just scoping your hand with the 1-0 Satono Diamond, you are just swinging, pay 1, pitch, and then burning your opponent for 1. Again, this is the same logic as the 2-1 Agnes Tachyon. You are mainly going in for precise damage at that point. With this deck, there's a lot, people may think, oh, this deck is so brain dead and so forth. Well, one thing you have to do a lot is hand management, because it's the 1-0 Satono Diamond finisher. 2, it is stock management, because if a lot of things go wrong, aka if you don't calculate things perfectly, like, hey, my opponent's at, I don't know, 2-4, and do I have the ability to kill my opponent? Am I able to overdo things? Am I able to burn? Like, am I able to need to control my board? Am I able to heal down? It was a lot of things that I needed to consider, and also a lot of calculations, like Agnes Tachyon, because you need to be able to have that last spurt towards the end with Agnes Tachyon. It is very lore driven, it like any Weiss set, and it is very necessary to just calculate what are your potential winnings, what is your end game, how are you able to precisely do things. So most of how my deck is built. Oh yeah, the reason why I'm playing 2-1 Fujikiseki is fuck Hodges, because he's playing Kanto Marine against me. I didn't have anything out to his Kantas. I just ate fuck ton of damage. So the Fuji is just mainly for like the early plays. I cut the Kami Princess because, again, like I said, space is tight, so the Fujikiseki makes up for that. But overall, I enjoyed this deck a lot because of just one, my Agnes Tachyon is just insane person like me, and 2, Musume P being a insane terrorist as well was just mood. So overall, I am happy with my results. Screwed the people who said that I won because I sacked my opponents. That may be the case round 3 because my opponent just ate everything from the Satono Diamond and I just canceled a lot. But my round 2 was honestly very hard because it was against 8 standby Nino against Kemp, and I had to be able to precisely do damage and also learn how to maneuver certain scenarios where I either A, didn't have board, B, I did not have climax. Like, I didn't consistently have the Stocksoul climax against my 8 standby Nino matchup, which was very terrible. So I literally just kept slamming door to just push damage, especially against a standby deck. that can, one, burn you for a lot, and two, has uncancel burn. So if you cancel, it just gets rid of more climaxes. So overall, I had to have like a lot of deck speed outside of Satono Diamond. So if you don't have a Satono Diamond and can't rely on it, it just turns into a, what is my backup plan? What is my goal? How do I get into my 3-2 endgame? So there was a lot of calculations in terms of just this deck. And like the Sakurchiano O was a crazy feat that I've had before with against Shinchan. Shinchan has a 2-0 event that does it's a money counter, basically. It prevents damage being done. The thing is, events target characters. The Sakurchiano O being hexproof was so good, where I just tri-fielded one point during testing in locals was triple Sakurchiano, 1 Stocksoul. I just did 6 damage straight, 2-2. It's kind of just those, like, you have to take a gamble at times. You have to think about what are niche plays you can do, and what are the different ways I can utilize my resources in maximizing my board state and hand state, and also making sure I can have the end game of triple Tachyon, double this 2-1, and then at least burn once with the 2-0 as well. And you kind of do want to see the range, because if your opponent's at like, what, 2-5, you either think, hey, do I want to level my opponent up, or do I want to burn them for 2? Because if you burn for 2 first, I think that is good, because if you do, you get rid of a climax, and if you cancel, and then on the first one, you would just swing and level them up. And then you would just swing with these 3 first, and towards the end step, if they don't die, you just do the 2-1s, do 1-1 damage. I think that is also optimal, or depending on how much they're out, obviously as well. But that's enough for my ramblings on the preciseness of the Uma Stocksoul door deck. Hope you guys enjoy. Like, subscribe, whatever. And if you guys have any questions regarding the deck, I am always available on Twitter at HandTrapTCG. Same with Instagram as well. But anyway, guys, until the next, bye-bye.